It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. I'm not going to call it a beautiful Thursday in Nashville. It's a little cold. Going to be cold for the next 2 or 3 days. And so there is your weather report. Now, before I bring Kelly in for Murfreesboro, I want to bring this to everybody's attention. Sports is one of the great unifiers for a city, especially when your team's really doing well. You hear athletes talk about the brotherhood of being teammates. And then there is last night at New York's Madison Square Garden, where the brotherhood did not appear to be on center stage. Just watch.
Share of bouts on the canvas on the ice. No undercard tonight. Rempe and McDermott, the main event to open the hockey game.
Both sides. Lazar went the other side as well.
Jimmy Vesey and Lazar. Goudreau has dropped them with Kevin Ball as well. Now it's 5-on-5. McDermott and Rempe exchanging blows. But everybody has gloves off at the Garden. Miller and John Marino. There's only 4 officials. There's 5 fights. They're trying to break up what they can. Meanwhile, Rempe and McDermott still throwing them. DeAndre Miller got the better of John Marino down on the other end. As McDermott still feeding rights to Rempe. The other 4 are all done. The main event's still going.
This is unbelievable. Holy jumping. What a start to this one right here. But McDermott's got it. He had a couple of uppercuts.
This is a marathon between Rempe and McDermott.
They're 1 second into the game, and 8 people get ejected. Let's bring Kelly Holcomb in. Kelly, that's the brotherhood.
For real, George? I mean, good gracious, that looked like what's the deal with these 2 teams?
Okay, well, it's the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils, separated by just a few miles. It's a very fierce rivalry. They played each other a year ago in the playoffs. I don't pretend to know what has precipitated this little go at it, but I'll say this: they got it out of the way early. The crowd loved it.
Did people know that was going to happen?
I get the feeling that some people must have known. First of all, it's one thing maybe for 2 people who don't like each other to just, haul off on each other. It's another for both teams. I mean, there were 5 fights. You heard him say there are 5 fights going on and only 4 officials. Y'all keep fighting. We'll be back with you in a minute.
That was hilarious. That's got to be. Is that the first time in history 5 fights have broke out like that?
I don't really know, Billy. Honestly, I've never heard of one like that. I happened to tune it in right at the very end of it. It was on TNT, and our thanks to TNT for welcoming us to Wednesday night at the fights. I've never heard one like that.
I think it's happened before where you start, because there's a name for it. They call it the line fight because I think that's happened before. I don't know about how recently, but my favorite part of it was at the beginning. No undercard tonight. We're getting going. That was my favorite part. But yeah,
was
let's.
good.
I mean, I think it's happened before, but I couldn't tell you what game.
But there's no other sport where that would be okay.
I mean, the
you
refs
know-
are just sitting there watching it.
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, think about it.
But
Now,
why
I've
did they let
seen-
that go? But then they stop other fights early.
Well,
what's the?
they try to stop it only when they think both sides are so exhausted that they can get in there without getting their head taken off. I mean, how would you like to be a referee and try to, handle that?
That'd be brutal.
Kelly, one of the things that I have seen that's pretty funny was in the old days, before a baseball game, they have the umpires meeting.
Yeah.
And normally it's with the two managers. These days, you don't see the managers as often. It seems more ceremonial than it used to. I can remember Earl Weaver of the Orioles got thrown out based on a rhubarb from the night before where, you see them and they all shake hands ahead of time. Well, apparently Earl Weaver told the umpire who threw him out the night before something to the effect of, "You suck. And you screwed it up last night and you'll screw it up again tonight." And
No,
boom,
he's
out of here.
That
Gone.
was awesome. That was pretty cool. Anyway, maybe we get it in Smashville tonight. Preds and Blues.
There's too much at stake.
Big one tonight, 7
Big
o'clock
one.
puck drop. Preds are favored to win, but the Blues are going to be desperate. And when you're playing hockey, it's never fun playing a desperate team, especially this close to the playoffs. But both these teams need it, George.
Screw the Blues. By golly. This is
What's wrong with
national
you,
time.
George?
I don't know. The fight got me all wound up.
I want a line drill with Billy. Can we have a line drill, me and Billy?
Oh, I would. Yes, and I would help with it.
Would you be the MC? Would you do it?
I'd MC it. I'd drop the puck. When I was in college, I MC'd a fraternity wrestling deal one time that was absolutely hilarious. I had a tux and the whole. It was very impressive.
I can see you emceeing that.
Yes.
Pike fights, man. We used to have that in Murfreesboro. Pike fights.
I got a buddy that was in a cousin actually that was in a pike fight. He showed me videos of it, man. They get after it in those.
Yeah.
After it.
Those are proud moments for the families.
Something we can look on and stick our chest out and be really proud of in 30 years.
We've paid big money to send our children to further their education.
And he's fighting.
This is what they're doing.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
But Preds in action tonight, so we'll see if they can get it done.
So this is officially part of your update.
Yes.
Is it a good update?
I think it's a good update.
Okay, because some of them have
the peanut gallery. We'll figure that out. We'll
some
tell
of
you if
them
it's a
have
good one.
lacked for, shall we say,
Substance.
Substance.
Yes.
Okay. Well, how about this for substance?
Okay.
USC is set to hire Arkansas's Eric Musselman to be its next
He
head
gone.
coach. He gone.
He been gone mentally for a while.
Yeah,
Yes.
the team was gone all year.
So let's try to put this gingerly. So now Arkansas is searching for a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
And the athletic director, who is a former Vandy marketing and promotions director, he's got his hands full because the coaching community out there is like everybody else. They yap like songbirds,
Mm-hmm.
and they all know that something isn't right there. That team imploded a year ago, a team that most people thought could make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. They couldn't get invited to the CIT.
The CBI either.
No.
Yeah, whatever those tournaments are.
Not even the NIT. But yeah, no details yet on the numbers. I'm sure I'm sure it'll be hefty. The deal's not done yet, but it's heading there. I mean, that's a big shakeup. But if you're Arkansas, I think you got to take a look at Jerome Tang at Kansas State. I don't know, but you're so late in the process.
That's part of the problem.
I mean, where do they go? I mean, you're not good luck getting any portal guys, hiring a coach here in the next week or two.
Well, they're going to have to move really quick. I don't know enough to know whether there's an assistant on the staff that they just plug into this the way Western Kentucky did.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I do know. Right now, to say that Arkansas and USC basketball is a lateral move is not true. This is a step down.
I agree, yeah. Arkansas is a good job.
Sure it is.
I mean, he took them to the Sweet 16.
Under normal circumstances.
To the Elite Eight?
Don't appear to be normal circumstances.
No.
He was just trying to get paid somewhere else, fellas. It didn't matter if it was Carson Newman. He was getting out of Arkansas.
That's true. So, and they had so much talent. That's why, if you're an Arkansas fan, you're sitting here going, "What in the world just happened to our team?"
Seriously.
So,
Implosion.
Musselman, the Must Bus, is headed to USC. It'll be interesting to see what he does out there. We'll see what Arkansas.
Oh, it
does.
won't be dull.
No.
Remember, USC's going in the Big Ten.
Yeah, so
That's right.
He'll enjoy that flight to Rutgers.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Good luck playing with Rutgers, son.
Well, also here in Nashville, Vanderbilt has added 5 assistant coaches to Coach Mark Byington's staff. And, I don't know a ton of these names. John Cremins, that's
Bobby's nephew, I believe.
Okay, John Cremins, Bobby Cremins' nephew. John was at JMU. A couple other guys from JMU coming over, Xavier Joyner and Matt Buckland. Buckland has SEC experience. He was working with Mark Fox while he was at Georgia.
Oh, wow.
And then Rick Ray, former, I want to say Mississippi State head coach.
Ray.
Did not do well as a head coach at Mississippi State, but he was the coach at Southeast Missouri for a while. He's coming over. And then Tom Ostrom, who was at Drake under DeVries. So who knows about these staffs, but I think if you're Mark Byington, you needed a good staff. I'm not going to sit here and say Jerry Stackhouse's staffs were awful, but they definitely weren't anything to write home about.
They were afraid of him.
Yeah,
exactly.
I used to use the term. It looked like they had a dog collar. Anytime they'd walk over to him towards center court, they'd get within about 3 steps of him, and I can't get. I was like, what the hell is that about?
Georgie, do you really think that was the case?
That they had a dog collar?
No, I know that. I know that.
Like.
It looked like they did, but do you think that those guys and gal were scared of him?
I think it came closer than any college basketball setting I have ever seen before.
Okay.
Based on some things that were told to me by a former assistant coach of Jerry Stackhouse's from year one, there might be a little bit of exaggeration on my end, but not totally.
Was he hard to work for?
Duh.
Yeah.
He made very clear to them at one point, all of you would be in the unemployment line if it weren't for me. So, Billy, I want to repeat that to you.
Okay. But he had some good assistants in his time at Vanderbilt, but he ran them off.
He had a lot of them.
Adam Mazzari he got ran off. He went to Cal. He was a good recruiter. He brought in a lot of those good players. Michael Carey, I think, was the guy that they brought over from Georgia, who was a good staffer. I don't know if he was on the staff. I can't remember if he was on the staff this year or not. But either way, they do have their staff set. It's not official by Vanderbilt, but they've got their staff and a lot of Power 5 experiences in that staff.
You're asking some questions, Kelly, that I will say this. He needed to have been monitored a lot closer by somebody.
Can you say?
Yeah, but how do you monitor it? Yeah, how do you monitor a head coach like that? I mean, I know if somebody gets out of hand, but it's kind of, I don't know, just all the ego and NBA play. I guess that's easier said than done sometimes.
Well, let me put it this way: if I know some of this stuff and I'm never over there, somebody inside McGugin Center couldn't have known some of this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Saying.
I agree. I agree.
Look, there's a reason I didn't just pluck it out of thin air in November that they needed to make a coaching change. And if you all will notice, I never wavered off that. There's a reason, because I believe Jerry Stackhouse, if left in that position much longer, was going to send Vanderbilt basketball into a complete abyss. It's not in great shape right now. This poor guy, Mark Byington, he has got his hands full trying to repair all this mess.
Yeah. And it's not dead, but it's pretty close to being that way. So we'll see. But he's got his staff set. Baseball, we got a big major league piece, but a big series tonight on ESPN2. Vanderbilt is in Baton Rouge to play LSU. So big series tonight. Both teams, of course.
Hope the weather's better.
Yeah, I think it is actually going to be really good. I saw where it's in the 70s right now in Baton Rouge. So glad they're not playing that one in Nashville. So that'll be tonight, Friday, and then Saturday. But the big piece here, and I know we're going to get to this with Danny Evans, and I know we're coming on the break here, but the A's are going to play at a minor league park before the Vegas residency begins for them. They're going to play at the Sacramento Park of what team is that, George?
Well, it's the minor league affiliate of the Giants, ironically.
Yeah. So the River Cats, the AAA team for the Giants. It's about 85 miles northeast of Oakland Coliseum. No longer Oakland Coliseum. They're playing in Sacramento this season at a minor league park.
It'll be an improvement.
It will.
I have the MLB extra innings package, and you could hide Patty Hearst in that upper deck.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since a human being's been in that upper deck.
I wonder if this is an effort from Sacramento to say, hey, we can.
Sure it is.
Come here.
It's their 3-year audition tape.
So
what it is.
If I'm the city of Sacramento and that minor league park, and
I'm pretty fired up.
Yeah, I'm marketing the crap out of that.
Go A's.
Even though they're awful.
Yes. Are we
George,
done?
George, you don't like the Oakland Coliseum? I've played there before. You didn't like it?
It's a dump.
It's a dump. The locker rooms were a dump too. Good gracious.
They made it look really good in that Moneyball movie.
They did their best. They did their best. It's a dump. Okay. After the break, Danny Evans will make his debut appearance by phone. I think he's in Chicago, but I can't swear to that. He's going to join us by phone. We're going to get into this Sacramento story because Billy's right. It has ramifications for future expansion. And we're going to talk with him about the vote in Kansas City 2 days ago that both the Chiefs and the Royals are scratching their head. The taxpayers said, no mas. What does it mean? What does it mean toward Nashville? Does it mean a delay in expansion? We'll get into all of this and more when we come back.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, I want to do a proper intro here for those of you who may be new to our show. Danny Evans will join us by phone in about 45 seconds. Danny is a former general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Before that was the longtime assistant GM of the Chicago White Sox. Most recently, and still heavily involved in the Field of Dreams up in Iowa, Danny is the one who spearheaded the two major league games that have been played there. And when I tell you that I believe Danny knows as much in the world of baseball as any of the information people that you see on the networks, I mean it. Danny, you owe me $1. How you doing?
Well, you obviously talked to my girlfriend, Kathy, about saying nice things about me. So I really appreciate it, George. And it is so very good to be talking baseball with the Nashville sports scene again.
Yeah, well, likewise on this end. So you know where I'm going to go at the beginning, because there are some interesting new developments that I want to get kind of your take on. I don't think it's any surprise in baseball circles that Oakland announced today that after this year, they're going to spend at least 3 years in Sacramento. Give me some thoughts on that, and then I want to follow it up with a few questions about it.
Well, my first thought, it's an ugly divorce gone public. You needed to move out of the house, and they're moving to Sacramento. I've spent a lot of time in Sacramento. I think it's a terrific opportunity for baseball. I love their AAA field. It's fantastic. I think the city will support it, but they needed to get out of that Oakland situation. The ownership group, George, has just really lost the public trust of the Bay Area. I just think it needed to happen. It's a shame the market loses an American League team, but at the same time, I think it's good for the game that what we've seen, and pretty much have gotten used to the last few years. And Oakland is going to be in the rearview mirror. George, I have to admit, I'm going to tell a quick story. I first went there in 1982, and it was a bad ballpark and a bad clubhouse then. I just don't think it's a really good fan experience. I think it's number 30 on the big league club. So I think anything's an improvement from what they've been doing. And I think the segue going to Sacramento and eventually potentially to Las Vegas, I'm still not sold on Vegas thing getting done. I think it's really good for the game. But I really think it's the ugly divorce that you move out of the house, you go to an apartment, and you're just trying to get your sea legs back. And very honestly, I think they just needed to get out, and this is one way to do it.
Danny, you're the latest in a series of people that always give it the I'm not sure about Vegas. What do you think's going on out there that's got everybody kind of with this big question mark?
George, I think the cart might have been somewhat before the horse on this one, where they announced their plans to go to Vegas, but really didn't have an airtight agreement. It's been apparent that they don't have everything figured out. The ballpark, its design announced. Then there's all sorts of question marks about the exact site, how it's going to be built, who's going to build it. I think the A's ownership group was looking for an exit. Their exit strategy was Vegas. We both know in hockey, the Golden Knights has been an amazing thing for the NHL. Not only did they do a good job on the ice, but off the ice, they've become a vibrant team in a very quick period. But I think what we have here is a lot of ambiguity, a lot of murkiness with the franchise. I don't hear any concrete plans. I hear a lot of plans that seem to be good, but I don't hear finalized stuff. And we're talking about a franchise that's worth over $1 billion, a game that's thriving right now. And I'm concerned that the Vegas thing isn't a done deal. And I think we're going to see some things in the next 18 to 24 months that might make Sacramento a more viable long-term possibility also for Major League Baseball.
You stole it right out of my mouth. This feels like an incredible audition tape for a Sacramento city that has supported the Kings in the NBA beautifully, and not always because they were winning. Danny, this just seems to have opened a door for them.
Yeah, and George, it's a great point. I never looked at Sacramento as an expansion city, and I'm gonna just clarify my comments. I lived in California for 15, 16 years. I love the city and I love the community. It's the capital of California. There's a lot of business there. It's a wonderful town. For some reason, I never included it in my candidate list. But I think not only an audition, but I think when you're not just prepping and posturing, but you're hosting, there are ways to really make your candidacy even more vibrant. It is a terrific facility. It is one of the best AAA ballparks. I believe they still call it Rayleigh Field. A grocery group sponsored the build. It's a terrific ballpark. They draw really well. I think it's going to be a real positive step for the Athletics franchise. But this is a really interesting segment for baseball in that is Sacramento, when this is all over, a candidate for future expansion? Or if the Vegas component doesn't work, is it a potential long-term solution? I think either one of those situations are going to be better than what appears to be a real mess in Oakland. You know, they were talking about building along the bay. That got polluted. It got destroyed. All sorts of bad faith comments from both sides, which indicates to me that maybe the negotiations weren't always, I would say, everything on the table. There might have been some agendas involved, but now I wonder what it's going to look like for the city of Oakland for the next 5 months with a team that's obviously going to transition to another part of California and remove itself from the Bay Area. I think Oakland has a real challenge on their hands now. What will this look like? And for Major League Baseball, from a visual and from an aesthetic standpoint, what will this look like for the game? When you and I have both seen the same photos, the same films, the same, for me, still shots where it is effectively a vacant ball.
Yeah.
And I just find that appalling.
Yeah, it's pitiful. So, Danny, now it seems like there may be a new issue that maybe nobody saw coming. As recently as 48 hours ago, the folks in Kansas City voted down the referendum that would have, I guess, funded the refurbishing of Arrowhead Stadium for the Chiefs and I guess a new stadium for the Royals. What do you make of that one?
I was surprised. I was really surprised, George. When that ownership group announced that they were moving to a downtown location, I was excited for the franchise, for the game, for the city. That area of Kansas City is absolutely glorious. It's a wonderful part of the community. And I thought at the time that they must have done their homework. They knew that the location would work, and they knew that the project itself would go through. That is an absolute shock for me a few days ago when they not only got voted down, but they got voted down decisively.
Yes.
And as a result, George, you've been to Kansas City. You know the ballpark. It's way out in the suburbs. It's a, gorgeous area, but it's detached from downtown Kansas City. And
right.
Downtown KC is vibrant now. I mean, it is we've seen, excuse me one moment. Excuse me, I get all choked up. I think it's alarming, George, to what's gone on there.
So, Danny, I'm going to put the picture back up that Billy has, and it's a fabulous picture. It's called the Truman Sports Complex. Those of you who are watching this, you can see the baseball stadium in the front, and it's a beautiful Royal Stadium. Was redone, I want to say, around 2010, 11, somewhere in there. I loved it. I've been to it on 2 different occasions. I think it's a fabulous ballpark. And then behind it is one of the great football stadiums in our country, Arrowhead. And Danny, as you know, and the people who are watching this can see, there's something like 25,000 parking spots in that huge complex. And man, do they do some tailgating.
They do. And George, we all know from the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce situation that Kansas City is rocking right now.
Yes.
Their football stadium is great. And I think what what the Swift-Kelsey relationship has displayed is that Kansas City is a cool town. It's a lot of fun. When they redid the ballpark for the All-Star game, I thought it was a great step for the franchise. Excuse me. And what it's done, candidly, is the franchise has a great facility, but a ballpark that's too far removed. When they built that in 1972, the area was migrating out into the suburbs.
Right.
And it was a brilliant move at the time from a city standpoint because the population base was moving out into Blue Springs and other areas like that, going into Independence where the Truman Museum is. But now the city has moved back downtown. The Negro League Baseball Museum is part of that resurgence. And I think when I saw the build, I just thought, great. They're heeding the people walking with their pocketbooks and their feet saying, we want to live in this city and we want to hang out in the city. Now they're in a somewhat antiquated area. They don't have a lot of hotels. The population base is moving in the opposite direction. And I think what they also have is they have a phenomenal football team who has captured the attention of, candidly, the world. And now they're second fiddle in their own town.
Yeah.
And they used to be the most important thing in the community. And I think they're searching for their own relevancy. And I think this is a tremendous shot in the midsection to the Royals franchise, but also, George, for their new ownership, a local who has a lot of respect in the community, and for them to have their project shot down. Let me just take a quick left turn. Larry Lucchino passed away this week.
Right.
He's done some amazing things in San Diego, in Baltimore, in Fenway, and he was always a proponent. Don't announce anything until all the screws are locked down. And this is one of those examples of what happens when you announce something and it falls apart. And I think it's going to be really difficult for the Royals franchise to rebound from this because they need a new ballpark and they need to move downtown. It's not going to work right now.
Is this going to delay MLB's expansion plans?
Wow, that's a really good question.
That's the first thing I thought of Tuesday night when I saw the news.
I don't think they can take a team out of the Kansas City market. It's a wonderful baseball market. They have the Negro League Museum. George, I'm very sorry. I think it's going to be hard for them to pull out of Kansas City, but I think they're going to have this situation rectified before they finalize expansion. And I think this all comes down to the people in Kansas City figuring it out. Candidly, when you've already made a decision to move downtown, it's hard to decide to stay because you've already told your fan base, we need to get downtown. So it's hard for me to justify staying out in the suburbs instead of getting down into the city where everybody is, basically begging the team to come to.
Danny, if I were to put the statement out that said there will not be expansion, there will not be games played by two new expansion teams before 2030, is that now accurate?
I'd be surprised, George. I think, we're in the middle of Rob Manfred's final term as commissioner. And I believe he's going to want to leave the game in as good a condition as he can. And I think part of that is expansion. I think it'd be good for the game to be more geographically aligned, to realign the leagues to a more positive way. And I think to wait until 2030 would be bad for markets like Nashville, Portland, San Antonio. I think it's really imperative that this probably happens on his watch. So I'll be very surprised if it's delayed. Particularly, George, I think the civic leaders in Kansas City and the ownership group of the Royals need to figure out a way for this to happen.
Amen.
Because in light of the Oakland situation, you're not going to want to lose a franchise. And sometimes that's a negotiating strategy. Here, it's in your own league, and it's a team you're very well aware of. Because remember, they lost the Athletics to Oakland 60 years ago.
Right.
So as a result, they're going to be cognizant of that. So if I were looking at the strategy, I think you got to rectify Kansas City while adeptly handling the expansion area. And I know for fans in Nashville, Major League Baseball is a key thing. I don't think this is going to prevent Nashville from becoming an expansion city.
After the break, Kelly Holcomb will join Danny Evans. As you can tell, this man is wired to this game. Please stay with us.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
there were times a year ago when we would have Danny Evans on that I would be really mesmerized by the stuff that Kelly would ask Danny, because oftentimes it was stuff that I would say, well, everybody knows that, so I'm not asking it. And Kelly would come at it differently, and it was very entertaining, really well done. Kelly, now you owe me $1. And the good news there for you is I know I'll never get it.
Yes, you absolutely will never get it. What's up, Danny? How you doing?
Kelly, it is so good to talk to you again. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So since y'all are talking about all this expansion stuff, I was sitting here thinking, you're still trying to run a business in Oakland. You're obviously still trying to run a business in Kansas City, but like, how hard, or is it hard at all to get free agents to come there? Like, if you're a free agent and you're thinking about going to Oakland, now obviously money speaks, but like, you're moving to Sacramento to a AAA club, and you're obviously in the big leagues, but like, is that a situation that somebody's going to ask and say, man, I'm not going to Oakland. I don't care how much they give me, or I'm not going to Kansas City. I don't care how much they give me.
Kelly, great question, but there's only 30 ports to park your ship. They pay US dollars. I think the harder thing for this, Kelly, I know. And
I love that.
That's all.
And I'm not completely just goofing around on that, because you're still getting paid, you're still getting service time. But here's the part that where I involved, here's the difficult part. You also know that you're a terrible team. And you take a look at Colorado, the White Sox, and the Oakland Athletics, they have no chance to be in the postseason. And they had no chance as of January 15th. So here's the problem. You're signing to play for a team that might want to trade you at the deadline. So you're making basically a 3 to 4 month commitment to a community. And, there's a challenge there. I mean, that you're probably playing for somebody else, but that somebody else is a more competitive club. So in a 1-year deal, I'd be concerned that this isn't a place that I'm going to anchor my boat. I'm going to moor my boat. But here's the other problem. You're going to rent, not buy. You do a 2-year deal. You know that the franchise is in transition. You're probably going to be traded. If not traded, you're not going to be part of the long-term future. So it's hard for a player and for a front office to really embed themselves and immerse themselves. The advantage is, for years, the Oakland franchise, has done a real good job with their affiliates. But in this case, in Sacramento, I think it's going to be a real challenge to make a firm commitment to the community, and then for the players to embed themselves as a contributor within the community. And that's going to take some orchestration. I don't think the Oakland A's have done a really great job of that in the last 15 years or so. And I think that's why they're in the situation that they're in today.
So Danny, I was looking at some of the standings. How important, as an organization or as a GM or a manager, how important is it to get a fast start? Do you want a fast? Everybody wants a fast start, but not everybody's going to start out that way. And we're talking about the Oakland A's, and everybody's seen Moneyball and all that, how they did what they did, and then they started winning games. But you look at the Marlins and you look at the Mets. They're over this season, and the Mets had a lot of expectations, and obviously they still can have those expectations met. But you look at the Marlins, who had a really good year last year, and they lose a young pitcher in Yuri Perez. Like, how important is it to get a fast start, or is it important?
So, Kelly, fantastic question. I want everybody listening and you guys to think about the cartoon Pinocchio. And throughout baseball, there's a whole lot of people right now that are dropping Pinocchio tendencies on us. And they're saying things, they say things like, oh no, we'll be fine. George, you've heard it your whole career. This is the best one. Oh, no, it's too early to be worried about stuff like that. We'll be fine. In reality, your nails are down to the quick. You're absolutely a nervous wreck. You're pulling hair out, eyelashes out. You're a train wreck. And everybody you know knows you're not sleeping, knows you're not doing well. And for some reason, within the game of baseball, people think that saying you're in a bad place isn't good. I'm of the opinion, full transparency, saying, hey, we got to get better. We don't want to be 1-7. You know, you take a look. Would you rather today be the Pittsburgh Pirates at 5-1, 6-1? Or would you rather be the Rockies at 1-6? Well, there's no doubt. Bill James did something about 30 years ago that indicated, Kelly, to fully answer your question, that the 10 and 20 game mark of the season is about an 80% indicator of who you're going to be for a team for the year. You're 4 times through your rotation. So as a result, you know, we can say today that the Tigers and the Pirates are going to be better this year. We're going to say that, yes, the Cubs are a good club. We can also say the Rockies, the Athletics, the Mets, and, you know, frankly, the Marlins are all awful. And there's a good chance they'll be awful most of the season. So I laugh because, Cal, my first year with the White Sox, we got out to a terrible start. And here's me, I'm 20 years old. You know, I'm drinking the tell the truth Kool-Aid, and I'm saying, boy, we got to get better. I mean, we got to do things better. And everybody around me is going, you know, don't go there. Don't go there. We still got a chance to win, because here's the problem. In the warmer climates, people are going to come in April and May, and they're going to come because it's a great place to hang out. But in April, May, and September, in colder climates, people don't come out unless one of two things. You've got a dome facility or you're playing really well. Otherwise, why would you come in? You know, we were at Wrigley Field yesterday, and, you know, I'm looking at my way better half. It was 34 degrees with sleet.
God, I watched it. It looked miserable.
Okay, why do you want to be outside in that kind of weather? Okay, the problem is, why do you want to do it? You're either visiting the ballpark, or you're such a diehard fan, or you love the other team. Well, if you're 1-7, and the three of us have an opportunity. Do you want to watch that, you know, Braves series this weekend? Well, unless you like the Braves, are you going to go in that kind of weather if you're out to a bad start? No, you're not. So as a result, getting out to a good start from a marketing standpoint is key. But there's another thing, and Kelly, you've been in the locker room. When you have a young club and you're trying to win, part of the way you learn how to win is by expecting to win and then winning. And when you don't know how to win, and you can't convince yourself that down 4-2 in the 7th, we got a shot. If you haven't been there before and you don't have a real good, I would say, veteran winning insulation, or in some cases of like Detroit. I mean, this morning I'm looking at their 1-loss record, and I'm like, when was the last time they were in first place in their division? And when you think that, you know they're thinking that too. So, you know, every series in April, guys, I think is huge. Because if you get out to a good start, your fans start to believe in you. And more importantly, your players start to believe in themselves. And it's a lot easier to think, hey, we might be pretty good. We're going to sell more tickets. Let's start thinking about 2024 being a winning environment. But I'm telling you, those Pinocchio noses are something that I literally, my whole career, I'm like, why can't you tell the truth? We look at the standings, we see 1-6. You're terrible. You suck. You're a bad team. Instead, in baseball, it's like, no, it's too early to panic. We're fine. Do you think right now Chris Bryant likes batting 100? No. Nobody. But we talk about Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is sitting over 500. He's got ungodly numbers. And as a result, the teams that are going well, they're very careful. They don't say anything right now because they're kind of hoping they don't wake up and start playing mediocre. But why can't you at the same time, why can't you just say, hey, we just have to play better? This is not what we expected. Instead, in baseball, they're like ostriches. They bury their head in the sand and they think it's okay, while the rest of the world cackles like a cackling goose. And you just go, are you kidding me? You guys are awful. Just be honest. Tell everybody you're awful. Some teams just won't do that.
Danny, I'll just leave it this way. As the big Braves fan, back in the 70s one year, they get off to an 8-5 start. And little high school Georgie is pumped. 8-5, man, we're there. There's just one problem. We then lost 17 in a row. Ed Turner, the owner, fired Dave Bristol. And who did he make the manager for one game? Himself.
That's right. And Kelly, you need to know, did he even put advertising on the back of his jersey? What did he call himself? Turner 17.
Yeah, and remember, he tried.
WTBS. Right?
He tried to pay Andy Messersmith some extra money. Messersmith had the number 17, and Turner's station was Channel 17, and he tried to get him to put Channel on the back, and baseball nixed
not
it.
Chanel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not Chanel 17. Right.
Danny,
Channel 17.
I got to run, but this has been awesome. Check out tonight the Preds in St. Louis. Preds win, we're going to the playoffs.
I'm happy for them, and I'm happy that they're where they are today. It was a great string. And guys, it's great to talk to you again. I'm sorry I was a little choked up earlier. I think I hadn't talked to George in a while, and I just got emotional.
That is not it at all. There's not a soul on earth who believes, speaking of Pinocchio, that was the ultimate Pinocchio. Danny, have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, he's terrific. Man, the guy flat out knows his baseball. And you know what? After the break, we're going to prove that we probably know nothing in trivia. Stat of the day is coming, although we've held our own this week. And then Ron Bargatze, like Danny Evans, flat out can talk some hoops. He will join us to talk Final Four, and I hope you'll stick around.
Yo, you want to see something cool? No? Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Step into the scene. No, nobody can do it like me. Zoop house plate with the kick cuisine. I was the blacktop king. 360s in my green machine. I was a kid and I was breaking down doors. Listening to Tribe, now we on a world tour.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in a car. with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Top of the hour on a Thursday. We're previewing the Final Four getting underway this weekend with Coach B coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday, from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, here we go. We're going baseball. We're officially a week into the MLB season. George, your Braves have the best team batting average in the league. Who has the worst?
Kelly.
Marlins.
I think it's the Mets. Let's see if it's either one of the two. Oh,
the White Sox.
Gosh. The White Sox.
First of all, Comiskey in April is a miserable place to watch a game.
Oh,
those people
gosh.
look freezing cold. Billy, to your left, a Dan Williams sighting. Dan runs the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, and we haven't seen him in a while.
No.
Good to see him.
Good to see Dan.
Yeah. The White Sox, it's going to be a long year.
Yep. And they need a new park.
They badly need a new park.
Why are there so many park issues in baseball? I mean, maybe not so many, but I feel like even three, what they've got now, is too many.
Probably because it matters more. You don't hear a lot of discussion about football stadiums. I mean, they're all kind of the same. You got stands on both sides. You got end zones. Baseball has
it's about the ambiance and what you can offer.
Yeah. Okay. We welcome all of you into the 3:00 hour. From the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, we say hello to Coach Ron Bargatze, who joins us for his weekly visit. Coach B, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's that time of year.
It sure is. So I'm going to throw something really goofy out there, because for a younger audience, they have no idea what the UCLA dynasty of the late 60s to the mid 70s was like. And now all of a sudden you've got UConn trying to win back-to-back national titles. They have dominated the games they have played in. Are they remotely close to what those UCLA teams were like?
Well, we need more time for that crown to be bestowed on them, because the UCLA dynasty lasted for so long. Very interesting time. It seemed like they got every player they wanted. When they got Lou Alcindor out of Power High School in New York, it seemed like it became a clean sweep. It wasn't just these West Coast guys, and they were phenomenal. And probably arguably the best basketball coach ever at the end of that bench.
So is UConn, in your mind, this weekend unbeatable?
No, I don't think they're unbeatable, but I think they're huge favorites. They have such good depth. They've got a big man only 2 inches shorter than Zach Edey, who is a banger himself, 280 pounds and just a real load in there. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I do think we know who the two final teams are going to be, or we think we do anyway.
So you think it's UConn and Purdue, which would be a very interesting matchup. The kid Donovan Clingan, when I've seen him, it looks like he couldn't play 32, 35 minutes from a stamina standpoint the way Zach Edey can. Is that where he can't stack with Edey?
I don't think we all realized that Edey was capable of playing all the minutes he did against Tennessee. I thought he showed great stamina. He was in a physical battle every time down the court, and he won most of those, and obviously is the National Player of the Year.
So let me try this one on you. So UConn's going to play Alabama, and you hear a lot of people, and I'll admit I probably subscribe to this, that if you're going to beat UConn, a couple of things have to happen. You got to keep the score down. It can't be up in the upper 80s. And my opinion is you got to call a timeout one bucket quicker against UConn, because they'll steamroll you. They went 30-0 at one point against Illinois. How does that fit to what Bama does, which is up and down the court? They want to be in the 80s and the 90s. Are they playing into UConn's hands?
Well, they've played that way all year. They don't turn down many shots, and they don't get into many shot clock situations. So I think it's going to be a really high-powered basketball game. I think the shot clock is not going to be threatened a lot in that game. So yeah, but I don't think Alabama can hang with UConn from a depth standpoint and from a leadership. I love Sears as a player, but he's a scoring point guard when he's at his best, and yet it appears that UConn is a type team that will love to play against a team that will play their style of basketball. So I think we're going to see 175 or 80 points in this game.
That can't be good for Alabama.
I agree.
Okay. The second game, the other game, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. NC State, Purdue. On one hand, in my heart, I know Purdue's the better team, but there is something about NC State right now that has me saying, not so fast. And somebody else said it earlier in the week, that a matchup of DJ Burns and Zach Edey, that one of the two of them is going to get a bunch of fouls early that's going to swing the balance of that game. Is it possible that Edey has no chance to guard Burns?
No, I think he can play off of him more and still be effective defensively. He's got such range and a 6-inch height advantage. I like the story of Burns, though. It's a great story. He is this decade's round mound of rebound and scoring, and he's an emotional guy that his teammates feed off of him. So I really admire what he's done.
So since you brought up that nickname, you and I saw Barkley up close a lot in the 80s when he was at Auburn. And the belief was that he was going to eat himself out of the league, that, he couldn't keep his weight down. He gets to the NBA and he surprises everybody by being able to go out on the court 6'4.5", 6'5", and play much bigger. Can Burns do some of the same stuff?
I don't think so. I'm not ready to compare Burns to Barkley yet. But Burns has got that unusual body. He's heavy, left-handed, finishes around the basket really well, but can he finish over the long stretched arms of Edey? I don't think so. Not like he has been.
So, okay, let me try it this way. Does Purdue guard Burns with Edey?
That's a good question, and that may not be the case. But if Edey is not guarding Burns, who is he matched up with?
Air, it would appear.
I
Coach B, it looks like at times he's just told, stand there in the middle, and if somebody gets to you, you know what to do.
Probably not far from the truth, yeah.
So, okay, let me take it one step farther, and I know I'm probably taking some of Kelly's stuff here, but hopefully he'll ask it better and maybe a little different than I have. I've believed all along, as this has started to develop, that Purdue is the one team that might be able to go toe-to-toe with UConn. Give me this. You agree with that? Okay.
Yes.
Give me the scenario where Purdue could pull the upset Monday night if that's the matchup.
They've got to make threes, and because you have to give so much attention inside to Edey, they're going to have a couple of really good shooters who are going to be able to up it from 3-point range and probably do it effectively.
Okay, then I'm going to toss this out, and I want to see what your reaction is. For a couple of years, the book on Purdue has been, look, when it gets to crunch time, their guards will go 2 for 17 from 3, and somebody will get them. And, for a couple of years, that was the truth. Then early in this tournament, they sort of shot that down, but in truth, they didn't have a whole lot of pressure. None of the games were all that close. All of a sudden, they get to Tennessee last Sunday, and I got the distinct impression in the second half, their guards wanted no part of putting it up.
Well, I tell you what, Tennessee really guarded them well. I mean, I thought Tennessee left, nothing on the floor. I mean, I thought they gave it their best effort. However, the distinct advantage that Edey gives anyone is to be able to catch and shoot. He has nice post moves. It's obvious he's done a lot of interior drills, and he can use both left and right hand. The little jump hook he has reminds me of you playing on an 8-foot basket.
Wow. Put Kelly up there, Billy.
What a line.
That was great.
I knew that.
Coach B,
everybody's attention.
Coach B, how you doing? You wake up for your mid-afternoon nap. You good?
Oh, hey, let me tell you what. I've been going all day today. Lots of work getting done, and no naps for me. I've never taken a nap.
What kind of work have you been doing, big dog?
Oh, building things.
What you been building, man?
Big dog?
Not Tinker Toys.
Coach B, when was the last time anybody called you big dog?
He's my guy, man. I like Coach B.
Well,
that was definitely pre-Antioch days.
You just hold on, Kelly, to that. We're going to go to the break. Coach B, I want to slide you over just a little bit. No,
yeah,
that was
okay.
Perfect. We want to get you in the picture. Kelly Holcomb, Coach Ron Bargatze, when we come back.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
I believe I heard this correctly earlier. Kelly Holcomb called Coach Bargatze Big Dog.
Big Dog. Yeah, absolutely. He's been out working today, man. Big Dog's been out working.
That's right.
Coach,
Start early and late, buddy.
Yeah, late. Okay. All right. If you say so, Big Dog.
Big Dog.
Hey, I got a question for you. We presented this to Tony earlier in the week, and then George kind of got on board with it. What kind of pro you think Zach Edey's going to be?
What is the question again?
I said, what kind of pro do you think Zach Edey will be?
I think he's going to be pretty good. I'm in his corner. He taught me a lot about himself in the Tennessee game. I thought he really competed hard. That wingspan he has is unbelievable, and he receives the ball in the post with a lot of strength. I like him a lot as a player.
Because Tony thinks that he would be great at WWE and he would be a great heel. So I think he's a pretty good basketball player. George thinks he's not very good either. But
hold on. He's very good on the college level. I don't think he's going to be a great pro.
Why not?
Because I think the game is totally different. I think he's going to have to take his game out farther because there are people that can get in his face. There are Rudy Goberts out there.
You've got a guy like him, his same size, Victor Wembanyama, that can do
a lot of
everything.
stuff.
He can do a lot of stuff, but he doesn't weigh 320 either now.
Right. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just an opinion.
I just wanted to know what Coach thought about it because Like 320 is a lot to like. You saw the other day with Jonas Adu, the Milwaukee kid, and the Estrella kid. I mean, they gave up so much weight, and we're talking about the client. I don't even know how to say his name. The Klingen kid from Connecticut. He's 7'2", but he's 280. He's still giving up 40 pounds. I mean, when you push on a guy over and over and over again like that, that takes a lot of energy out of you, and you start losing. I mean, you start losing battles, and you start getting tired. Your game goes down. I don't know. I'm with you, Coach B. I think he's got a shot. I mean, he's going to have to evolve in his game, but I think he's going to be a pretty good pro. We'll have to see.
He's a back to the basket guy, and he doesn't need to go out there where Kim Mbanya, Wembanyama is. But once a guy goes out to that distance, Wembanyama has a lot of natural talent, but no one wants him. If you're coaching that guy, you want him to stay right there in the paint. He's going to get shots, 3-point shots for other guys. He's a very good passer from the low post. So don't be surprised if he has a good impact. I say he's going to be drafted pretty high.
So we talk about his stamina, which is really good. I mean, it's really good. He played the majority, like he played the whole game the other day. But if you're NC State and if you're the coach of NC State, how do you defend him? Because everybody's talking about the DJ Burns kid, and he's got great feet, and he's a big old boy too. I mean, he's 6'9". He's probably, like George said, a biscuit away from 300. But like he doesn't play that many minutes. If you look at all the minutes he's played, so when he goes out, how do you defend him? Like if you were the coach, how do you defend him? If you got a big man, you can put him on him. But if you don't, how do you go about it?
Well, my hat's off to Matt Painter because he did such a good job. If you notice where the Edey receives the ball, he gets a lot of passes to the post and in the paint from out front. And it's much more difficult to defend a post player when he can get the pass from there because help side defense is neutralized. And I just think that he does a great job of catching and getting fouled and doing the things you need to do to be effective. But I thought the scheme that Purdue used was very good, very effective. And along the lines of defense, I thought Tennessee defended as well as anyone we've seen in these tournaments. But I'll tell you, probably number 2, and maybe even 1A would be UConn. They really play well defensively.
Yeah, and talking about Tennessee, I think we've talked about it a lot on this program, but it just seemed like it came down to what we all was afraid was going to come down. Like Zach Edey can carry his team on his back. He's a big old guy. I mean, his shooters didn't really help him the other night, but he can win it by himself. But when you come down to Tennessee, Dalton Knecht, I mean, you had 2 superstars. One was 40. Dalton Knecht scored 37, but it seemed like Tennessee just didn't have anybody else that could help Dalton Knecht the other night. I thought they played about as good as they could, but like I thought in the beginning of the game, Josiah Jordan-James was going to be that guy. The Ziegler kid didn't play very well. It just seemed like they needed somebody else other than Dalton Knecht.
Yeah, and also when Tennessee plays against a team that has that kind of defensive presence inside, it takes a lot away from what they can do. James, as a sophomore, was really scary. As a junior, he really did not have the year you would have expected out of him. He's had flashes this year, and he had those 2 threes early on. And but they also needed Vescovy and the points he might produce for them. He needed to get 12 or 14 points in that game, and he just wasn't up to it physically.
Yeah, if you're Coach Oates and you're Alabama, I mean, I know they got to hit shots, they got to score points, but like, how do you stay in the game with UConn if you're their coach? Like, what are you going to do? Because it seems like UConn is the most balanced team. They can run with you, they can slow it down, they can play good defense. They got a big guy, they got shooters, they got guys that can drive. It seems like they don't have a weakness. So if you're the Alabama coach, like, what does he have to do? What do they got to do to keep this thing close and maybe at the end have a chance to win it?
I think the thing that has to be done by UConn in this game is to continue to spread the floor, they're going to get some 3-point shots by their supporting cast. And that is really a very, very difficult thing to offset. So I would imagine that in this game, in the first game they have against NC State, I cannot see Burns getting more than 15, 16, 17 minutes of play because I think he's going to be in foul trouble. And I think the range and the height difference is going to be really tough for Burns to do what he's been doing.
So let me, and this is my last question, and I'll let you go back to your work that you say you've been doing all day. So I'll let you get back to it. But if you're coaching against UConn, what do you have to take away from those guys? Is there anything you can take away from those guys just to stay close?
Well, I think Klingen's really going to be a challenge when he's in the game against Edey, if they get that far. And I think that's going to be really fun to watch. That's going to be almost, to me, the mirror image of what we saw in the girls' game the other night when you had Angel Reese going against Caitlin Clark. And it makes for great theater throughout the game on who is the better player. After the first quarter, I thought Angel Reese was very, very neutralized in the game. I think after the first quarter that Edey is going to have a lot of problems for NC State. And I think that Purdue wins this game by 10 to 15 points.
Coach, I got a couple here for you. Have you ever been to a Final Four?
Yes.
What year?
Oh, gosh, I've been to several. I guess the first one I went to was 73, 75, 77. At Vandy at that time, our budget would only allow you to go every other year. But I've been to several, including 83, and I didn't stay for the championship game in 83. I came home after the first round.
So you went to Wooden's retirement game?
Well, I guess I did.
Wow.
My question is, and those weren't, in the 70s, those weren't in the big football stadiums, that they have them in now. What is that like? And I know you're familiar with this. I don't know if you've been to one of the recent Final Fours in one of these big stadiums, but what is that like for a player? I mean, you go from shooting, like if you're Alabama, you go from shooting in Coleman Coliseum, then you go to Bridgestone, you get a feel of shooting over different sight lines. Then you go to the NCAA tournament out in Los Angeles, and that's even more spacious. And then you go, here in Phoenix, which is just massive. What is the challenge of those sight lines? And then just getting there, how can that affect a team, at least shooting wise?
I think the depth perception is really tough on 3-point shooters. The larger the arena, the tougher the shot and the depth perception. It's hard to really focus. And also, you see some very strange lighting nowadays. And lighting the floor like it is a smaller venue is very difficult to do when you're playing with those lights so far away, how they're focused. And I dislike having to have lights that light up the arena as much as they do the playing floor. And so that's probably the biggest thing I've seen in terms of difference and how the depth perception is for shooters.
Last thing for me, we got another opening in the SEC. Coach Musselman is headed out west to USC, and I don't think that surprises many people. Arkansas, and you talked about this, Coach, you expected them to at least be a tournament team and maybe even make a run this year. I think we had talked about that. It just fell apart for them. Why did it fall apart for them, and what do you think about him going out west, and what does Arkansas do now?
I think Musselman will be more comfortable out west than he was with that college town, college atmosphere. Look back in September, October last year, when you could take South Carolina and Arkansas and flip them. They ended up almost exactly opposite of what all the prognosticators said going into the season. So I think he'll do fine. It'll be interesting to see who gets that Arkansas job. Musselman's a very different kind of guy, and he kind of lost edge a little bit, I think, going into this year. Much different situation.
Okay, let me try it a different way. Is there a person out there, and admittedly, we're talking early April, weird time to be trying to get a coach. Is there somebody out there that you say is the perfect fit at Arkansas?
Oh man, I wish you'd asked me that at 1 o'clock today. I would have gone down through the Rolodex and come up with a couple that I think would be great. I think
Will Wade.
Well, is that your choice?
Why not take a shot at him if you're Arkansas?
Well, I imagine Will is capable of doing a good job there. They back in their day when they were 40 minutes or whatever it was they played, they had a guy that was very good. I think you could take the coach at Ole Miss now, who's been at Texas Tech, and Beard, I think, would do a good job in that setting. That would suit his style a little bit better than Ole Miss, I think.
What would you think of McDermott?
Golly, man, I think he's a really good coach, and you don't have to watch Creighton play long before you realize that this guy is a great preparation guy. He has a system that's very fundamental, and why not go to Indiana State and get the next coach at Arkansas?
Well, that's a very good point right there. He's still available, although the rumor has been that he has accepted St. Louis University. For what reason, I have no idea, because I don't see that Indiana State to St. Louis is a step up at all. To me, it's lateral at best. I don't know why he would settle for that. If he's got Arkansas in the picture, Hogs.
Yeah, I think at Arkansas he would have a fan base that's very similar to Indiana State, which is unbelievably good.
Yep. Coach B, thank you as always.
Hey, by the way, I need to have you sick the Durham boys on me. I've got some litigation I'm going through right now that I might need some help on. We've got for almost 45 years, I've been Coach B, and now I'm going against the other Coach B, and I think he's got a huge advantage.
He does.
My only chance is to get a Donald Trump attorney in there and try to flip the script on him.
Either that, or I think you need to have a face-to-face with him and tell him how you feel. See you, Coach B.
That'll be a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
See you. Okay, Billy, how do we end the show?
With your bet of the day.
Yes, we do.
Brought to you by Bart Durham, Injury Law, who seem to be helping Coach B out right now. But give him a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, let's check out what happened last night.
Let's do.
Another win. The Phoenix Suns got it done.
Yeah, they stole Cleveland.
Wow. You're creeping, dog. You creeping up there.
Kelly, we're going to creep a little closer after tonight. You ready?
He's going Preds, I'm sure.
Let's see where we're going.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Indiana State.
Ooh,
Here's the philosophy. It's a home game. It's in Indy. It's a sellout. And most of those people are Indiana State. Not a lot of Seton Hall getting tickets in Indy for the finals of the NIT. Home court's got to be worth something. Even though Seton Hall has played great, I'm going with Indiana State until somebody beats them. And when they do, it'll be too late to get out of it. And then there's one other play, Kelly.
Preds.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Right there, baby.
This feels like a bet from the heart.
Big game tonight.
You going to be up there at 304?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let me put it this way. What they did on Tuesday night will be plenty good enough to win tonight.
Okay.
If they bring that same intensity, same stuff, put it on the board.
George, when you don't sit in that section, are the people a little upset? Are you like the mayor of that section?
Oh, I think they're thrilled. What I tell them all, because it's kind of 2 rows, and then there's a handicap section right above our 2 rows. And so the 2 rows have been hearing about, we're in a pennant race. They've been hearing that a lot.
That's awesome.
Since February.
Let's go Preds.
Let's go Preds. Pennant race might, tonight, here's the thing. A victory over St. Louis, while it will not mathematically eliminate the Blues, it sort of does. If, on the other hand, St. Louis wins, we all of a sudden may have a race to the wire 10 days from now. That's what the Predators are trying to avoid if they can get them a win tonight.
George, how many games do they have left?
7.
Oh, it's it. 7.
That's it.
What's the magic number?
Oh, wow.
I don't know. It's hard to know in hockey because you have 3-point games.
I heard it was 8.
Well, in baseball terms, they have a 3-game lead over the Blues with 7 to play.
Okay.
So a win tonight would give them a 4-game lead with 6 to play if the victory is in regulation. I'll also say this. An overtime
loss
would not be enough for St. Louis. They need to win outright tonight in regulation. And they might do something crazy strategy-wise to make that happen, like in a tie game, go empty net late to try to produce a game-winning goal in regulation. I've seen it done before.
If the Blues win tonight, this is going to get really interesting down the stretch.
It's going to get a little tense. Yeah, we don't want that.
We're going to have a tense George.
Yeah, maybe. Kelly, you're off tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We ask you to behave this weekend. We ask you to not do anything that would embarrass the show.
I've got to go do a charity event in Youngstown, Ohio.
Really?
Yes.
What are we doing?
This guy has been on me. This thing is called Taste of the Valley, and I'm going to be a celebrity judge at this place. I'm getting a little cash,
a little stipend.
Yeah, a little stipend to go. I got to fly up. He's been after me for about 4 years, and I've turned him down because my daughter's. You just never know about this time of year, and he had it earlier last year. So this year I couldn't fend him off. He's a good guy. He's been down here before, but yeah, I've got to fly into Pittsburgh and drive to Youngstown Saturday.
Wow. And the family's thrilled to get rid of you for a few days. Dad's gone.
It's just but my family's gone. It's just me and the old wifey here. So I'm empty nester now. So I'm sure my wife really wants me to come home, but hey, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, behave in Youngstown, Ohio, home of former 49ers owner Edward DeBartolo.
Correct. And Carmen was Carmen Policy.
I think Carmen Policy may have been as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where they got attached in Youngstown. Yeah.
Billy, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you will. And Kelly, thanks for all your hard work this week. Means a lot.
Billy, hey, we're going to line up on the line, big dog. I'm just going to start throwing haymakers.
Big dog.
Have fun in Youngstown.
See all of you tomorrow. Behave until then.